what I've said before as well. Spence is already a damaged fighter to me. He's already.
So how is he beating everybody? It ain't like he got losses. He ain't losing.
You can win and be damaged.
So what about the fighters who he fought that wasn't damaged? Them weren't damaged fighters.
No.
So how can a damaged fighter beat up regular fighters?
It's very easy to do that. I've seen fighters win with broken arms and broken hands. There can be damage and you can still win. Spence has won, so that has erased any other thing that could be wrong with him.
Great point.
That's the big thing. He has won, so I ain't gonna argue that. But you could be damaged. You could have psychological problems. You can go in the ring and still win with guys who have no issues, who have no problem. That can happen. Just like people think the only reason that Bud won is because he had to be juicing. That's how they're gonna think. I'm not gonna try to change that at all, because it doesn't make any sense to argue that point. This is all about what we believe, what we see, how we form our own opinions, etc. But that's what I feel about the situation that already happened. I believe they should fight at 147, not just for the competition part of it, but also for the business part of it. Here's how I see it. If Bud gave up his belts, which he would probably have to do to fight at 154, he ain't getting those belts back. If he goes up to fight Spence at 154, he either going to get stripped of the belts or he's going to have to just abdicate them. Let's just say let's just by miracle, and that's how I'm going to say it, that Spence beats Bud at 154. Remember, Spence is already designated as number 3 in the WBC junior middleweight division. Bud ain't designated in the middleweight division at all. So he's going to get frozen out if he then tries to compete for a 154 belt. He's not going to get the 147 belts back either, because they probably are going to very quickly come under the control of PBC as well, because they've never really cared for Bud. He played hardball with them. They decided, let's go ahead and give him a payday. Spencer's going to beat him. We'll be done with him after that. He's going to retire. It didn't happen that way. And this is partly why I believe Bud is playing hardball right now, because he sees that's a possibility and nothing more, but it's still a possibility. So get as much money as you can, regardless of what people are going to say about him, regardless of what people are going to say. It's not good business, it's bad business. You got to do what's best for you, because what's going to happen is they're going to play hardball with you the minute you find yourself not being a champion. So, yeah, I get it going at 147. Plus, Spence, as I said before, gets a chance to get those belts back and then be designated as undisputed himself. He's never been undisputed yet. So that makes sense that he would want to have that title to put on his resume as well. At 154, I still say Spence is damaged. I've said this all along. That's not going to change.
Hey, how can he be damaged though? And he won. He took 3 belts at 147.
What I just said though, Ross, you can be damaged and win.
Well, he the best damaged winner of all time. And
I'll give him that.
And Crawford, because not in nan one of them fights you're talking about, he damaged that he winning. He looked like he was high or drunk. And then one of them is
that one. Can't argue with you.
And then one of them, this is the only fight.
He was fighting a vastly superior fighter in Crawford.
He not no vastly superior fighter. Look at David Avenesian.
He's more accomplished than
man. So
he's a better athlete than Spence.
Let me ask you a question.
He's smarter than Spence.
He's not smarter than Spence, but he's slicker.
He's more disciplined than Spence.
Let's put this up there. No. He take more juice than Spence. That's what he do.
That's what you believe.
He cheat more than Spence. That's what he do.
He's
a greedy
exactly pig. How juice or PEDs work.
Yes.
They don't give you intelligence. They don't
No,
give you
because he already intelligent fighter. It make your reaction time fast. It make you punch harder. Your punch resistance even more better.
And
That's
it
what it
also
do.
damages your body.
Yeah, it don't damage your body right then. You don't get it damaged. No. You get it down in years.
But what's been said about Crawford is that he's been cheating for some time.
Yeah. So I mean, bodybuilders take steroids all the time. They've been taking steroids 20 years until their body starts shutting down. 15, 20 years. So it's not no overnight thing every time in every scenario. And we know that.
Right. So we don't know which scenario it would be for Crawford. If
obviously
but I'm going to say that's not the case. And that's what we're disagreeing with as well.
According to Victor Conte, from what Victor Conte says and how Bud was fighting in that fight, I believe that is the case. Victor Conte got these guys in there just like this, like lab rats. He experimenting on these black guys. That's what he's doing. He experiment on these black guys.
Very true, but like I said when I was on last week, when somebody tells me, not just him, but anybody tells me that you shouldn't or you should be suspicious of what I say, even if they're just talking about a particular area, I'm going to be suspicious about everything you say. I'm going to be suspicious about what your I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, or what your name is. I'm going to be suspicious about everything because it's you who's telling me about your own self to be suspicious about what I say. So everything, Victor, I mean, we already know I don't want Victor Conte in the game. I don't want him around Bud. And I'm sorry and angry to some degree that Bud was even over there because I don't know what the explanation that would make sense to me that he could give.
Now check this out though. If he over there with Victor Conte, and Victor Conte gave him undetectable steroids where he tests positive.
you know, you did the same thing.
Hey, we got to keep going back to it.
Yeah, we're gonna do the same thing. Yeah, I just don't want to be on a clip saying, "Yeah, Bud taking steroids that's undetectable." That's the reason I didn't answer.
But check this out. But did Victor Conte say that he make undetectable steroids?
He did say that.
Okay, so if he gave him the Bud, will Bud test positive for him?
Now you know Bud is not going to test positive.
Exactly. That's why he over there. That's why he over there.
I don't believe that.
I believe that.
And that's where the difference is. That's where the difference is. But before we get too far across, I'm glad to hear that there's other people who trying to, help you get your podcast going real strong where you don't get hurt, by YouTube. Because as I said, that's coming. And I'm glad to hear other people giving you little tidbits here and there, what not to do, what to watch out for,
for sure.
And things of that nature. And that means to me that there's people who respecting your podcast and what you have to say, regardless of whether we agree or disagree. And that's how I like to see that happen, because I want to see all of y'all win, whether I agree with everything you say or not. I still want to see you win. So, and if again, like I told you before we talked, if anything I could do that's outside of us disagreeing about different fighters that will help this podcast grow for you and get more people coming to see you, because this now you're becoming or being under the umbrella of a corporation. That's why they got all these new rules that's coming down the pike. And in American corporations and American business, there are people who are going to be protected. So you got to watch what we say on your show that's going to hurt you if it offends somebody that's part of the protective class. So you got to watch for that. You got to watch the words we use, because that's just how the game is going to go. You got guys who are bigger than you out here who don't want to see you get big. And you know that they're stealing from you. You're saying different things and so forth. But you want to be careful of all of that. So I just want to make sure I put that in. Just because I don't agree with everything don't mean I want to see you fall or see you fail. So
the show got to be diverse. It just can't be everybody up on here for Spence, and you know what I'm saying. We got to be respectful. You dig what I'm saying?
Right. I mean,
it's just competitive. It's a competitive sport. Boxing, competitive sport. You know what I'm saying? I know that part. So we got to be competitive when we, argue our points. But you know what I'm saying? We ain't disrespectful. I know Mr. Man's ready. Skid Southpaw, what's happening, man?
As long as we do that, man, everything will be good.
What's going on? What's going on, Ross? What's going on with y'all?
What up, man? It's your
Good.
first time coming in.
Morning,
we got
brother.
Mr. Mass on
morning,
here.
brother.
We got Gregory 2 Cents on here. What's happening?
I'm cool. And now this is my second time. I came on the late night you did on Saturday.
Oh, you did? I see. I was almost asleep. That's the when I came the super late one, huh?
Yeah. I chopped it up with y'all for a minute.
What's going down?
Nothing much, man. I'm gonna be quick because I'm about to pull up on somebody. But I had a question for Mr. Mass.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday,
good morning to you, man.
Yeah, good morning, bro. I left a comment in the comment section saying, you know, Bud had went 12 or more. I mean, I'm sorry, had went 12 rounds with competition much lesser than Spence. And you were like, oh, that's a dumb statement. You got to learn boxing. And so I just continued to listen. And Ross had posed the question, or somebody asked you, how did Spence's face get as damaged as it did? And I'm going to let you answer it now, but I believe you said something along the lines of Spence don't move his head, right? Isn't that what you said?
Well, first and foremost, man, if I came across disrespectful in my comment, I apologize. I definitely didn't mean it that way. Like these two gentlemen said, man, boxing is competitive, and we as boxing fans are very, competitive and passionate as well. So let me first just say that. But what I meant by that was this. Just because Crawford went 12 rounds with lesser competition, because let's face it, every fighter he fought before Crawford would be considered lesser competition. Crawford is the best fighter that he's fought in his career. So that's why I use the word lesser. And then let me follow up by saying this. Just because I go 12 rounds with lesser competition, I've heard elite boxers say, I work on things in fights. Sometimes I ain't got to go to every tool in my toolbox, to get the job done, right? If I'm building a house, right, depending on what type of house it is, today I may use a wrench, screwdriver, and flathead. Tomorrow I may use a hammer, a saw or whatever. And so because Crawford went 12 rounds, that doesn't mean anything to me because I'm a boxing fan and I study boxing and I pride myself on boxing knowledge and talking technical boxing. I know a guy can work on things in the ring and just get by. And as long as you get the win, you get the win. He ain't got to damage these fighters the way he damaged Spence. Now, to your second question, listen, man, bro, Spence for a long time has not moved his head, right? He's got hit in every single fight, too much for my liking, right? Now, Crawford is sharp, right? He's a sharp puncher. He's a sharp fighter. And the way that Crawford was just picking him apart with the counters, and then when you have a come forward fighter like Spence is, well, Spence is providing power as well with those punches to his face. For every action, there's a reaction, a la Isaac Newton. And so I take everything into consideration. And I know that when a fighter comes forward, that's just like the Kell Brook fight, right? Yeah. You think that right jab on Kell Brook was just from Crawford's punch? No. Kell Brook came forward, and when he came forward like that aggression, and then Crawford hit him with that short right jab or whatever you want to call it, I mean, that helps the power in the punch. And so that's what I meant by that, man. I mean, Spence don't move his head. He got hit sharp in his face, and it is what it is, man. I mean, we can't lie about what we see. And I just
exactly.
I'm not gonna lie about what I see, man. I can't do it.
Exactly.
Can I say something?
I don't make it a habit of that either.
Now check this out.
Ross, it's your show.
Hey, Spence get hit. I mean, Crawford get hit. I don't know where in what fight the Crawford don't get hit. Crawford get hit. So Crawford ain't the super duper elite.
Crawford rolls his head with punches, and Crawford doesn't get flushed the way Spence got flushed in that fight.
He get hit because
everybody get hit. We know that.
We still got to go back to the fact that wasn't Spence. So Spence got hit a gang of times, but Crawford did not hit Spence more than Floyd Mayweather hit Arturo Gatti, while Arturo Gotti's face ain't messed up like Spence. Why
closed in the third round, basically.
That one dents and ding all on both sides of his face, man. Why Crawford never did that to no other fighter?
And that's what I was trying to get to, Ross.
You got to think about the facial surgery, Ross.
He been in fights after that. It would have been showed up in the other fights. He got hit flush. He got hit flush. Why would it show up with this guy? But guys hit the man off guard. Bow, bopped him. He's supposed to knock him out off that punch. Spence wasn't paying no attention. When Victor Ortiz did that to Floyd, a smaller fighter, a fighter with got power but less power. When Floyd did that to Victor, he knocked Victor out. When Ugas did that to Spence, Spence fell against the ropes and started smiling. Come on, man. So
depends on what kind of punch it is.
Right.
He hit that mod, man. What you mean? They all punching hard.
But
Them hard punches.
Some punches, the way they deliver it and the way they land are different though, Ross.
Man, he caught him off guard. He did not brace for that hit. This the whole thing.
You talk about when Ugas punched him in the mouth and Spence lost control, lost focus and thought his teeth was out.
He thought his teeth was out there. Ugas hit him again after that. When Spence wasn't paying him no attention and got hit, didn't brace for the punch or nothing, got straight hit and didn't do nothing to him.
Danny was touching him too. Danny was touching Spence too.
But we talking about his face. We talking about his face.
But this is what I wanted to say. Let me respond to Moss real quick. So Moss, this is what I wanted to say before I jump off.
Yeah.
Spence, I can't name another fighter like Benavidez, Jose Benavidez, Mean Machine, David Avenizin.
Yeah.
All like I've watched them fight, not just when they fought Crawford. They have zero head movement also. And I'd even say Spence's defense is better than all three of theirs. And their face wasn't anywhere near. Look at Mean Machine. He's white. And we all know Caucasian skin
but
swell
you guys
up
do know that
way
boxers
faster
throw punches.
way faster than black. You know,
but you do know that
tends to hold up a lot longer. But Spence, you know, a guy who Danny was touching up, who Sean Porter said Danny's the hardest hitter at welterweight, in his opinion. And he was touching Spence, and Spence's face was a little red at the end of the fight, but it wasn't.
But he wasn't touching him the way Crawford was touching him.
I mean, we'd have to look at the punch stats to see how many punches landed, you know?
You do know that punches are thrown at different speeds, different angles. I mean, like, you can't throw a punch the same because the fighter can counter you. But before you go,
on this one night, Crawford was just able to do that much damage to a fighter who has, I would say, above B-level defense, as opposed to Jose Benavidez, you know?
Can you rebut what I said about the 12-round fighter? Because you may seem like a boxer can't go 12 rounds with lesser fighters. Can you just real quick before you go comment on that and try to rebut what I said about that?
Crawford almost lost that fight.